All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I know we've got a small group today, but we are recording this webinar for future use. My name is Robin Dolby. I'm the From Lynn, Kansas marketing coordinator. We've been working on trying to provide some more educational opportunities for our members to hopefully share more in depth about our benefits, about other organizations we work with, resources, etc. That was kind of the goal for today. Today we do have Karen Blakslee with us. She's with the Kansas Value Added Foods Lab. As a member, if you sign up for this benefit, you do receive a 30% discount on the majority of their services. So before I turn it over to Karen, though, I just wanted to let you all know, as I said, that we are recording this webinar to make it available for other members. If you have a question any time, feel free to type it in the chat or just use the raise hand feature or turn your camera on and raise your hand. We'll be happy to answer the questions as they come. I'd also like to give a quick shout out to my teammates who are on with us today. We have Jen Hill, she's the membership coordinator. And then we also have one of our summer interns, Brody, who is with us today too. So with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to you, Karen.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be with you today. And I'd like to just share a little bit about the Kansas Value Added Foods Lab. Some of you may have already worked with us, but some of you might be new. So just want to give you an overview about the lab and what we do and how we can hopefully help you and your food business. All right, here we go. So the Kansas Value Added Foods Lab has been around for over 30 years, and it is a service that started actually in partnership with the Kansas Department of Commerce. Since then, it has switched over to the Kansas Department of Agriculture, and currently with the From the Land in Kansas program and with the KDA Food Safety and Lodging division. So we work side by side with them. We're grateful for them and their support because they do also provide funding for us, which helps pay for the students, the undergraduate students that work in the lab. And full disclosure, it also pays for just a little bit of my salary. But we appreciate this partnership because they both work hand in hand. And I like to say that we're the educators and KDA is the regulators. And so when we have questions about any kind of regulations, we work with them and to make sure that we're all on the same page and the right track. As Robin mentioned, if you sign up to be a From the Land of Kansas member through the Department of Ag, you have to specifically ask for our services, and then you can get a 30% discount on our charges that we charge for the services that we do. I will say that our fees are pretty economical to start with because of the support that we get from the Department of Ag. But this is another way to even cut the cost a little bit more. I'll say if you had to get these kind of tests done through a commercial laboratory, it would cost you quite a bit more, depending on where you go, but it is more expensive to go through a commercial lab. So we like to work with you all. We want to make sure that you're making and selling safe food to the public. So be sure to look into that on the From the Land of Kansas website. Robin or Jennifer or Sammy Gleason, they'd be glad to help you all with that program. And you get some other benefits out of that too, especially on the marketing side of things. They will help you promote your products. You may even be in the Christmas boxes for the holidays. So there's some pretty good things to think about and to sign up for on that. So we work with a lot of different types of companies or businesses, just from somebody that's wanting to sell something at a farmer's market, clear up to established excuse me, established companies that have truly grown and are standalone companies. And actually, some of them that we have worked with are even selling products across the country. So it's kind of fun to see, go through a grocery store or to a farmer's market, and we can pick out vendors sometimes like, hey, we worked with you. So it's kind of fun to see that we've had a little bit, uh, be a little bit of a part of your success with your food business. All our work is confidential. We don't share anything with anybody else. In fact, I have our students sign a confidentiality agreement for that fact. We know that your products are yours and we want it to stay that way. So I just want to make sure that you understand that. A couple other people that I work with, for this program. We also have a companion program in our meat science program. So on our side of it, we work with any kind of food products that are under FDA regulations, which is basically anything except meat type products. So there's our email and our phone number there. I'll give you our website here in a little bit. But these are the types of products that we work with. And we primarily, as far as canned goods, we work with already acidic or acidified foods. We don't work with products that are low acid foods. We don't have the capability of testing those kinds of products. So we stick with the acidified, which is a lot of different kinds of products. So just some examples, we get probably our most popular thing is barbecue sauce, hot sauces, salsas, pickles, jams and jellies is another very popular item. So that gives you an idea of some of the things that we work with. Dr. Boyle is our meat science specialist in extension, and she works with small meat processors. So if you're wanting to sell, or if you have or you know somebody who's a small meat processor, she really understands the USDA regulations on what needs to take place in those types of operations. If you're wanting to make a product such as jerky or a summer sausage or something like that, she can also help you with that. There are some specific regulations that you need to follow when it comes to selling those kinds of products. So she is your best resource on that. So her email is here with her phone number. Give her a call or send her an email and she'll be happy to help you. She knows all the right questions to ask. So just be, you know, use her knowledge and she can really help you out. We can also do nutrition facts labeling and generate an ingredient statement along with listing any of the food allergens, the major food allergens that need to be listed. This is a service that probably many of you fall under the exemption where you don't have to have a nutrition label, but it's a good idea because it's good information for consumers to know. People need to know what is in your food, and so we can help you with that. There are some basic requirements, which I'll cover here in a second, that you can already put on your label, but we can actually create a nutrition facts panel for you and make sure your ingredient statement is listed in the proper way. Dr. Getty is our process authority. Now, a process authority is needed for canned goods. If you're making something like breads or a dried seasoning mix or something like that, a process authority is not required. Those kinds of things are generally good, safe food handling practices that you would need to follow. But there are some canned goods that do require a process authority review. We will look at your formulas, we will look at how you're making it, what kind of container you're putting it in, and making sure you're meeting all of those requirements set forth by the FDA. So Dr. Getty is our process authority and contact, and so here's her email and phone number. Just to give you an idea of the testing that we do, pH, which is a measure of the acidity of your product, AW, which stands for water activity. This is the amount of water that's available inside the food that's available for bacteria to grow. These two components right here are just two major key factors on the safety of products in the end. Those numbers that we get out of this can really tell you a lot. And if they're not meeting the right parameters on your product, we can help you with that and give you ideas on how to fix it so that it can be a shelf stable product. There are some cases, there are some things that, for quality and flavor wise, that you need to leave things alone. But it may need to be refrigerated. So there's a lot of things to think about. If we are doing a nutrition label, we do like to check the sodium content. We use a software program and input your recipe or your formula. But sometimes the software it's not able to actually mimic what your true product really is. For example, like pickles. We can tell that you're using cucumbers and vinegar and salt and whatever flavorings in there. But what the sodium content is going to be is what's actually in the cucumber and what it absorbs after it's been canned. So that's an example of why we need to do that, to get the true picture of what is in your product. Percent Brix is a measurement of sugar content. This is something that we look at on jams and jellies because the FDA says you have to have a certain Brix content to be labeled as a jam or a jelly, and that is 65%. So that is something that we will look at on your jam and jelly to make sure that you're meeting that requirement. We can also do some other things like moisture content, which is different from the water activity. The fat content, we've done that on some cheese products, for example, and we can do some basic microbial. There are occasionally we do a shelf life study, but that's not something that you need to do for a lot of products that you all make. For example, if you're making like a barbecue sauce, we pretty much know that 18 months is a good shelf life for those kinds of products. All right. So some tips. Start early. Please don't wait till the last minute because it does take some time for us to get the data from your products. So if you're calling us the week before you want to sell it, it's probably not going to happen. So please be mindful of that. Give us some lead time. We like to have around 4 weeks just to make sure that we're getting everything done properly. And if we have questions that we need to reach out to you to get answered. So be mindful of that. It sure helps us to be efficient as much as we can. Sometimes we can get it done sooner. It just depends on how many products we've been getting in. And it's kind of first come, first serve. So um, again, don't wait till the last minute. Paying attention to detail is critical. We have a form that we have you fill out, and we ask for a lot of information, especially for the nutrition labels, because we've got to be very specific on that. We may even need nutrition profiles from the suppliers that you're getting your ingredients from. If we don't have the information on that, we're going to have to come back to you and say, hey, I need more information. So a nutrition profile is actually the nutrient breakdown based on 100 grams is really what we like to see. But last resort, we can use the nutrition facts label off of the product. We can do that. Get a scale, weigh everything. This is one of your best friends. Instead of using household measurements to measure ingredients for your products, get a scale and weigh them. It's way more accurate than using household measurements. It'll help control your ingredient usage. Plus, you'll be more accurate in the information you give us and what you're doing. We do like to know the brand names of ingredients. So, for example, if you're making barbecue sauce and you're using Heinz ketchup, that's what we want to know. But we also need to know what all what are all the ingredients in that ketchup. Those have to be listed. The FDA requires us to list sub-ingredients if there's two or more sub-ingredients in a product in your formula. So I'll tell you, some of these barbecue sauce labels get rather lengthy because of all the different ingredients people like to put into them. So, but we can try to shrink it down as much as we can, but there are some things we just can't do. Um, Oops, sorry. We can do different label formats. This is an example of the vertical label here on the right, but we can also do tabular, linear, and dual column if necessary. We can also provide you the label in a file format that you would like to use for getting your labels made. So when you look at our paperwork, we give you the three options that we can provide for you. Some other tips, get a thermometer and a timer. When you write your instructions, if you just say bring to a boil or reduce to simmer, that doesn't tell us any information. We got to know what the temperature is that you reach and how long you're holding at that temperature. So it's way more accurate. And how much you feel, what temperature you feel your container's at. We have to know that stuff for the process authority review. The size and type of container and the lid, we also need to know that, what you're intending to sell this product in. The headspace, which is the space between the top of your food and the rim of the jar. What is your target headspace for the product that you're making? If you're doing the inversion method on your product, for example, there's barbecue sauces can be done this way, where you put the hot product in the container, put the lid on it, turn it over for a certain amount of time, and then turn it back up, and that helps create the seal and helps to heat that airspace, that headspace area. So we need to know how long you're doing that. Plastic jars, if you're using those plastic bottles, we need to know what the temperature threshold is of that plastic. Not all plastic's the same. So we got to know that information also. So just some basics on food labeling. If you don't have to get a nutrition label, which a lot of small businesses are not required to, these are the key elements that you should put on each one of your packages. The name of the food, that is the standard of identity, the statement of responsibility, the net quantity, the ingredient statement by weight from most to least. There's where your scale comes in very handy. I strongly recommend you put allergens, the 9 major allergens, and I'll go through each of these in a minute. And then if you do want a nutrition label, we can do that. So the statement of identity goes on the front of the package. That's what they call the principal display panel. So it can be fancy name, but it needs to be truthful and descriptive. So be careful about using a product name that doesn't really represent what's in the product, what's in the bottle. So think about that. The statement of responsibility, this is who you are, how a person can contact you if they have questions or if they find a problem that you need to know about. So you can say manufactured by. If you have somebody else like a co-packer making their products for you, they'll say just manufactured for or distributed by. At minimum, city, state, and zip code, but you can also put your street address. If if you can't find it at a local directory. Now, the FDA regulations on this goes back to the time when we still had yellow pages or white pages. We don't have those, at least I haven't seen one of those in a long time. So if they can't find you on a website, then put that on there. Phone numbers are optional, website addresses are optional, but that is another way for a person to get a hold of you. At least a phone number. I think that's always beneficial. The net quantity or volume, which has to be listed on the bottom right corner of your label. And it needs to be in US measurement and metric in parentheses. So these are some examples here of how that works. Liquid foods, even pickles and relishes, are by volume. I know that may sound kind of weird, but that's how the regulations um, are built for pickles and relishes, is by volume. So that has to be in fluid ounces and milliliters on the front. Solid, semi-solid, thick mixtures, those can be by weight. So salsa, for example, that can be by weight. The ingredient statement, again, by weight from most to least. Get out the scale, weigh your ingredients. And then all sub ingredients that are within those ingredients. Um, this is especially important for those who have food allergies, because those allergens will be in there, but you can also list them at the bottom, like down here, for example, where it says contains soybeans and anchovies. There are some times when we can group things together, like spices, for example. There's a lot of spices and herbs that we can group into one name called spices, and then that'll be put, that total weight will be put in the proper order based on your recipe. Um, Sugar, I'll give you another example of things that we can shorten. Sugar, it doesn't matter if it's cane sugar or beet sugar, it's sugar. And that's how we'll list it. Unless you specifically want us to say cane sugar, we will do that. Salt is salt, doesn't matter if it's kosher salt, table salt, whatever. So anyway, that gives you some examples. And the thing to think about on your ingredients, what you tell us and what you state on your ingredient statement is for a specific ingredient. For, I'll go back to the Heinz ketchup example. If that's what you're telling us you're using, that's what you always need to use. You can't just go to the grocery store and buy what's on sale and use that. It may have a different ingredient statement altogether from your original Heinz ketchup. So please keep that in mind. The other thing too is you can't add anything that's not physically in the food product itself. For example, I have seen this a couple times where at the end of the ingredient statement, they'll say, and love. Love is not an ingredient. It's a nice feeling, but it's something that you could put a little statement on the front of your label if you wanted to and say made with love. You can do that, but you can't list it in the ingredient statement. All right. This talks about the major food allergens, which there are 9 of them. Sesame seeds are the newest one, which was added a couple years ago. There's a couple ways that you can list allergens, and this gives the examples. One of them is within the ingredient statement itself, such as flour, and then in parentheses say wheat. Less than in parentheses say soy. Or it can be separated out and listed at the end. And that's what we'll do for when we create your labels. We'll give you a contained statement that will list the allergens. You'll see some commercial products that will say may contain or produced in a facility type statements. Those are optional, they're not required. And so we typically don't give you that, but if that's something that you want to go ahead and add to your label, you can do that. So these are the 9 major allergens that must be listed. Make note that on tree nuts and shellfish and fish, the specific nut or the specific species of fish or shellfish must be listed. So we see a lot of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire typically has anchovies in it. So the anchovies must be listed down in the contained statement. I mentioned earlier that you may be exempt from needing a nutrition label. This just goes into the details of what that, what the parameters are to qualify for that. And we have a publication I'll show you here in a minute on labeling that goes into a little more description on this. But again, this is good information for your customers to know. And if you're planning to get into a major grocery store chain, or if you think you're going to sell across state lines, this is probably something you're going to need to have. So keep that in mind. Lot coding. This is an important thing to track your products in commerce, but it's also a way to keep records and track your inventory. Um, this can be in pretty much any format. A lot of people will say just a made on date, or um, uh, you could even say and just use the day and a year of production, um, or day, month, and year. The batch numbers, some will even put a batch number on there, but it needs to be something that people will understand. I know some commercial companies, they put some codes on there that's like, what is that? Some of them use what's called the Julian date system, which is the actual number of the day of the year that the product was made. But again, this is important to help keep track of your products as they go through the system, but also for inventory tracking purposes in your facility. Sell by or use by codes. The only food product that this is required on is infant formulas. And I know none of you are doing this type of product. Otherwise, it's not required by federal law, but there are some states that require it. These shelf life dates or sell by dates are typically more for the quality of the product, not so much the safety of it. Although perishable type foods like milk products, those do tend to get into more of the safety of the product. So these are some examples of how this can be displayed on your package. And we can help you determine that depending on your products that you're wanting to make. Universal product codes, or UPC codes. This is the way of the world. If you're wanting to sell in grocery stores or any kind of business like that, they will likely want you to have a UPC code. If you sign up to be a Friend of Land of Kansas member, they can help you with that. They have a whole bunch of these codes that they will sell you, and I think, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're only like $5 a piece. So this can help uh, make it easier for you to get one of these numbers. Again, it's not a regulatory requirement, but it is used a lot these days, so it is something to think about. This is our publication on food labeling for Kansas food producers and processors. You can scan this QR code to go directly to it. This goes into a lot more information about food labeling that I may not have mentioned already. So take a look at that. And if you got any questions, you can always reach out to us. The other thing I strongly encourage you to look at is our direct-to-consumer publication that we have out, that we update every year. We updated this in January. We actually had to tweak it even a little more in March and April. But I think we've settled on it for this year. But we will review this again next year because there's always something new that somebody comes up with, or there might be some new regulation that we need to add, or whatever. So I strongly encourage you to look at this. This is talking about selling food direct to consumers, like at farmers markets or a craft show or something like that. So take a look at that. If you got any questions, or if you can't find your product on there, let us know. It may be something we've never thought of before, and we just have to look into it and see what we can do for you. We do offer a workshop called Better Process Control School. This is something that we do via Zoom. This is for acidified foods or acidic foods. This is a good class if you're getting into the canning of food products or bottling. a good class to learn about the particulars about that kind of process. Um, this is something that we're planning to hold in October. So save the date. We're working on getting the information put together on this for registration, and we'd love to have you. It is 2 days. It's 2 half days. I will say that. We provide you with a book and all the documents that go with that. And there is some questions that you'll have to answer in order to complete the class. And then we will also give you a certificate at the end to show that you've taken the class and you've passed it. So save the date. We'll have more information about this coming out here in the next month or so. Another resource is the North Central Region Food Safety Extension Network, which Kansas is a part of. This little graphic kind of gives you an idea of the states that are included. We try to work together to provide universal resources, and we have several things for food entrepreneurs, but we also cover home food preservation and then just general food safety. You can scan this QR code here and sign up for our newsletter. It is focused on home food preservation, but it might be good information for you to know or share with somebody that you know that does that. So take a look at that. We also offer some webinars a couple times a year, and you can see the recordings of that on this website also. For example, this past winter we did 3 webinars, and one of them was on freeze drying. The other one was on sourdough, and the other one was just on food entrepreneur information in general. So you can take a look at those if you're interested in those topics to learn more about it. A couple things locally that we have coming up. We have a really strong Kansas local foods program. It seems to be growing every day, almost, it seems like it. We offer a town hall every quarter. We've got 2 more for this year, one on July 30th, one on October 29th. So you're welcome to sign up for these. It's only an hour. I think they're from 11 in the morning to noon, if I remember right. But sign up for those. It's a great way to get connected with other people in the local food realm across the state and find out maybe there's some resources that you can use and maybe help with your food business. Along with that, we have a couple events coming up in the local foods area. The first one is our local food summit, which is at the end of July 29th and 30th in Salina. And this is a great way to meet in person and just learn about foods, local foods. You can go to this website here and learn more about who the speakers are. And we hope that you can attend this. This will be the second time. We did this last year in Wichita, and it was a great success. We had really great participation. So I'd like to keep that momentum going. So consider that. It might be something that you can really catch more ideas on to help with your own food business. Another one that's new for this year is a food business startup summit. And this is a little different than just going to a conference. This is going to be a hands-on experience. This will be in September in Lawrence. And again, the information is on our Kansas Local Foods website. You can scan that QR code there and learn more about it. They are taking applications. The priority was due today. I know that's kind of very short notice, but you can still apply. This is something you don't just register for. You actually have to apply for it. You can register as a business and get a better rate, I believe, for this. So take a look at that. This is being put on by the Heartland Regional Food Business Center, and our Douglas County Extension Office is really kind of the leaders in getting this put together. This is a new thing. So we hope if you know somebody that's getting started in this might be very useful for them. Um, we've got a lot of people coming in to help run the breakout sessions and things like that. So um, September, think about that one. And speaking of the Heartland Center, this is just the information on that. Um, our lab is a part of this program and we provide technical assistance. So if you contact them and get yourself registered through the Heartland Center, you can get 2 of your products, the basic testing done for no cost. And that would include if you need a process authority letter and a nutrition label. So consider that, sign up for that. There are some grant funding that's available. Right now, the USDA has all the funding on hold for review. There's many businesses that have received notice that their proposals have got accepted, but then the freeze happened. So we're just waiting and hoping that things will be opened up and people can move forward with their projects and business ideas. Another thing that might be useful for you is our program called the First Friday E-Calls. This is really more for just general community development, but you are a part of a community, and so there might be something in here that could really help on their business side for you. So these happen obviously on the first Friday of every month. Nancy Daniels is the leader of this event. She's also great at if you need help with writing grants, she and her team are very helpful in doing that. So consider signing up for that and connecting with that group. So this is our contact information for the lab. We do have a newsletter, so you can scan that code there and sign up for that. We're getting ready to put out one here for the summer. But it's a great way for us to stay connected with you and to tell you about things that are out there that you might need to know about, or events such as the ones I've talked about here today. We'll definitely be putting out more information about the Better Process Control Schools once we get that ready to go. So consider signing up for our newsletter and we'll do our best to keep you informed. All right, that's it. I'll leave this slide up. Looks like I have a little bit of time here. So any questions from anybody?
Don't be shy. You guys are welcome to put them in the chat, or just turn your camera on and speak up. I will say, while you guys are formulating any questions, that a lot of the events that Karen mentioned are in our upcoming newsletter, and we'll continue pulling some of those other ones I saw that we don't have in our future newsletters. And then also on our private Facebook group, if you guys aren't a member yet, it's from the Land of Kansas members. You request, and we'll get you into that. And that's where we post a lot of these opportunities and resources as well. So keep that in mind. I don't see any questions. It looks like you must have covered everything, Karen.
I guess either that or everybody's eating lunch and we're not. But that's okay.
Right? Yes.
Oh,
Oh, and yes, Heather. Heather says she was late to join, got busy at the restaurant, and she'll watch the recording. So, Eric does have a question.
about baked
Does
goods.
Kansas, yeah, help
Yeah.
provide with bakery goods?
Yeah, especially if you're making some kind of a bread that contains cheese, and we've seen a lot of these that contain cheese and jalapenos. We really would like to test those to make sure your water activity is low enough so that it can be shelf stable. So yes, that is something that we can work with. Um, so give us a call and then we can visit with you a little bit and find out what you're wanting to make, and then we can go from there. But from what I from the products that I can think of off the top of my head, it's usually those kind of products that we need to get tested. Once you start adding things like that, then that changes the whole makeup of the bread, and we just want to make sure that it's going to be a safe product in the end. Bread has a short shelf life to start with, so when you start adding cheese or jalapenos to it, which makes really great bread, we've seen some pretty tasty things come through. Um, then that can shorten that shelf life. As you probably know, bread is best the day it's made. And um, so anyway, give us a call on that one. Bite-sized cookies, yeah. Um, yeah, we have done a few cookies. Sometimes it can also depend on how you're packaging them too, how long they're going to last, and what the texture and crispiness is going to be. With something like cookies, those tend to pick up moisture pretty quickly, so you want to put them in some kind of an airtight package. We've seen the plastic tubs to paper bags that you fold over with the little wire things that close them. Um, so, um, so anyway, yeah, it's something. And another thing that we've tested on the cookie side of the thing is those meringue type cookies. Um, uh, can't think of the name of them. They got the two layers with the filling in the middle of it. So, that's another thing macarons. Thank you. Yes. So anyway, yes. So give us a call on that one too, on the cookies, and see if there's something we can help you with. Sell to other businesses as well. So I guess you're selling to other businesses, that turns your business into a wholesale business. So you'll need to make sure you have the right license to do that. Once you start selling things to other businesses, there are some products that you'll probably need to make in a licensed kitchen, which is a bit of a challenge, although there's more and more um, places out there, options for people to use. And so you have that licensing, that's good. I guess just need a little more information on what you're wanting to sell. It is something that you probably might need to have a nutrition label on also once you start selling wholesale. That can change things.
And
Um,
yeah, Heather, we did cover that I think a lot before you joined. So you'll see that in the recording. She went through the nutrition facts, the testing that they do to get the nutrition facts, and then also covered a little bit about our barcodes to help
mhm,
um, get to the wholesale
right. Yeah, because
level.
you will likely need the barcodes too. So
Mhm.
Robin can help you out with that. If you're from the land of Kansas member, they can help you with that. So
Yep.
um, yeah, but reach out to us if you got other questions. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
May not. All right. Well, we may go ahead and end it now. If anybody has future questions, you guys know how to get a hold of us, and then we can also reach out to Karen. You can always email us at our From Land of Kansas email, which is from the land of Kansas at ks.gov. And we can also get you connected with Karen as well,
Yeah,
or you've got her contact info right there.
right
So,
there.
yes. So, thank
Yes.
you all for joining us today, and thank you, Karen, for
You're
taking the time
welcome.
over your lunch hour to provide us with this education today. So,
Not a problem. Glad to
um,
help.
yeah, thank you. So we will send out kind of a short little survey to those of you who participated today, just to help us get some feedback on some future webinars that we can do, or educational opportunities that we can help provide for our members. So be looking for that. With that, thank you all and have a good rest of your day. Bye all.
Hey, everybody.